Hey guys, it's Max. Welcome back to the station. You've tuned into the Daily Covered Caller, where I talk about option strategy ETFs and option strategies themselves, especially covered call ETFs, hence the name, the Daily Covered Caller. All right, well, I have a good one for you guys today. Let's see what's on the agenda, why don't we? We're going to talk about some videos that I had out yesterday and some videos that are coming out. And we're also going to talk about the Defiance and Yield Max profit boxes. They've changed a bunch of their positions. And then we'll also talk about some videos that I had last week that came out last week, and we'll have some follow up on them. So let's start with the heat map. All right, here we go. I thought this is pretty cool. All right, it looks like, of course, crypto. Look at this, IBIT up nearly 10%. Grayscale, 9.7%. These guys are just killing it today. And of course, in the covered call world, that means that that the covered call single stocks that have crypto exposure, or the indexes that do, are going crazy. But like I saw today, that Coney was up and Misty just killing it. All right, everything else though, SPY's up half a point. Of course, your inverses are down. They don't have a section on here for covered call ETFs. They have strategy funds down here, and they have a lot of different types of really cool ideas. But anyway, just to get a general idea of what's moving, it's obviously the money's coming out of the inverses and going into freaking crypto. All right, so let's look at these Defiance option positions. Let's just start with USOI since I landed on that page. All right, so USOI, first thing I would notice is the dividend estimate was $1 last week. It's $1.13 now. Now I want to caution everybody. They put on a new option. They put on 1,223 contracts at the 81 strike, and they received 83 cents. Great job, guys. Okay. But that option doesn't expire till Wednesday. The calculation thinks that it expires today. And I could change. I realize I could change it pretty easily. But sometimes what they'll do is at the end of the day, they will close this option, and they'll do another option for tomorrow that also expires Wednesday. Then they'll sell it. So they basically turn this into a synthetic one-day option. So in that case, the estimate will be right. And sometimes they let this go till Wednesday. In that case, the estimate will be high. But by Wednesday, it will reflect the true number. I'll keep trying to devise a better system. But for right now, that estimate's high. Now, the good news is on all the other Defiance ones I follow, like Triple QI, these estimates should be right on the money. And I checked them this morning. They're low, but the calculations look good. No problems. And the way these guys do their options, where it's always a one-day option, it's super cut and dry to figure out to project the estimate over the course of the month. So these guys at Triple QI are at 71 cents. Here's what they did. They sold 128 contracts. That's what they've been selling lately. They sold the 2380 strike. They received $48, or I'm sorry, they received $110, which is a lot of money. It's actually more money than they've received. They received 107 yesterday or Friday. Well, I guess they received 127 Thursday. But it's more money than they've received since Thursday. And then before that, it's more money since they received since like early June. So anyway, it's a ton of premium. So far, it's working out well for these guys because the markets are up. All right, so now let's look at JEPY, see if they received a ton of premium for their option. They sold the same numbers they did Friday. They received the same amount as Friday, 1750, call it, which is around what they've been averaging. So no, for these guys, it wasn't a huge jump. For the NASDAQ, it was about a 20% jump over their average for the month, I would say. All right. So JEPY, $17.50. In any event, all the indexes are blowing up today, face ripping. So these are all full profit. Now we did not check on USOI. I showed you the new position, but we did not check this chart. Okay, so there is actually the position. The green part is the intrinsic, the yellow part is the extrinsic, and this is to scale, and this goes out to Wednesday. So this is just like, now I'm going to start doing the USOY profit boxes just like the other ones. All right. So anyway, these guys have a big target to aim for. Now, right now they're at break even, but they have all the way till Wednesday to get to $81. We'll see what happens. All right. So on the other ones, just to show you the chart real quick, the other indexes are all up. Yeah. See, they're up and they're above their profit boxes. So JEPY is at a full profit right now. Triple QY is at a full profit right now, and IWMY is at a full profit right now. So also you can assume anytime these other ones are at a full profit, you can assume Triple QT and SPY-T are doing great also. They're also, that's what they're designed to do. They're bullish market funds. So as long as the market's up, they're great. They're doing their job. All right. Let's see what else we have to look at. Let's look at TLT. I figured Trust was still in the valley of death. Last week they were talking about bonds. They bottomed down and were starting to go up again. But anyway, for today, no such luck. So that's TLT. Now the only reason I look at that is for TRES. I know not many people care about TRES, but just for the heck of it, this one's unchanged on the day. All right, so now let's go to the yield max funds. They're a lot more fun to look at. We'll check out Tesla, which is basically like checking out Tesla and Crash at the same time. Crash's profit boxes are in the red, or that's a profit box, but that's where their covered calls are sold. And Tesla's covered calls are in yellow. Tesla sold the 275. So the market's at 260. They're in good shape. Was that 15 points away? That's, I don't know, about 5%, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's about perfect. Same way, if the market starts selling off, people that have Crash have a while before they're capped out, more like 25%, just estimating it. Also, Crash had two strikes. I believe it was the 237.50s and the 230s. Let's just look at that really quick. Okay, no, they just have the 237.50s. So I was wrong about that. So let's go back here. And that has to stop there. Okay. All right. So we're stuck between two strikes on this. All right. So now let's check AMZ, which of course we have to look at Amazon stock chart because these guys trade options on Amazon. So these guys have a two-strike ladder. They sold the 200s and the 197.5s. Amazon selling off for some reason today pretty strongly. Well, no, not pretty strong. It's down nearly 1%. But anyway, Amazon selling off. So both of these are in good shape as far as the covered calls go. Amazon's down 1.83%. And so yeah, that is a pretty big sell-off. All right. So now let's check AMD. These guys have a two-strike ladder, 192.5s or 193s and 190s. All right. So these guys have about 4 to 6% before these guys are capped. A lot of work. Now, Misty was really blowing up today. Look at this. Holy shit. I mean, it's just doing the same thing the Russells do. I mean, my Lord, that's just incredible. 14.71% today. Misty's only catching a third of it. But still, to be up 5%, I mean, come on, that's great. I don't have a problem with that. It's a yield fund, and it's up 5% in a day, and it's paying like 100%, it's paying a gigantic dividend on top of that. So anyway, all right, great job, Miss. They haven't had very much to talk about for a while. So their strikes blown out. We'll see if they roll, but it's good to have something positive for them to talk about, or for me to talk about them today. That's my idea. All right. Well, NVIDIA is not in any danger of being capped out. They're still out of the money, about 5%, which is just about what they try to do. Now, what about old Coney? Coney trades Coinbase, and its chart looks like Misty. It's just blowing up. Or its chart looks like Tesla's chart did last week. Now, unfortunately, this is the way it happens, because what came out last week? Fiat, which I'm not putting the fiat boxes on here yet. I guess I need to start doing that. All right, I'll start doing that tomorrow. But in any event, that came out last week, and I don't know if people are playing the Coney Fiat sandwich, but if they are, not off to a good start, because I bet you Fiat is capped. Anyway, all right, so I don't think very many people are probably playing that yet, but it'll be interesting to see what they roll to and what Misty rolls to. I'll keep my eyes on that. All right, so now what else do we need to look at? I always forget to talk about a couple. I usually forget to talk about USOY. Let's go back to the agenda and talk about some other stuff. Hopefully you guys like the new format better. All right. Okay. So there's a new, when I say new, there's a filing for, it's Yield Max. Yes. There's a filing for a Yield Max fund based on Ether, a synthetic covered call fund on Ether. So I thought that was interesting. I'm working on a report on it. So anyway, let's look also. So look for that report, hopefully this afternoon or whatever. I hope you guys like that. But I'm working on that. Let's look right here. Let's go back to this screen. All right, and let's look at a couple of trades. All right, so last week I had some content on its Tesla's earnings were 3 weeks away last week. Now they're 2 weeks away, or they're actually going to be next week. So they were 2 weeks away last week. Now they're 1 week away. So I gave a really easy, a really reasonable double diagonal, and I explained that I like to do these kind of trades. Anyway, we can kind of see how it pans out, but this is a great pre-earnings trade, I think. So right now, where we sit right now, somebody that did that trade, it has about $700 worth of risk. But where it sits right now, of course, Tesla's not really moving, it's grinding. If Tesla drops big, this trade's dead. What this trade does is it sells a put and a call. So it's a strangle, sells a 255 put and a 280. So out of the money put and out of the money call. So that's like an income strategy, right? Because you received money when you sell an option. Well, but you're also open to unlimited risk. So at the same time, in this type of trade, you buy a different strangle that expires the week behind it. So there's no unlimited risk. In fact, the risk is very limited. It's limited to $672.02 on this trade. Well, anyway, so time's passing, and that's what's designed to do. Time's passing, and then it's designed to hold right till earnings are next Tuesday on Tesla. So take off like next Monday. Here's going to be the profit and loss graph next Monday. So unless Tesla's price drops more than 5.7% between now and next Monday, this trade should be in pretty good shape. And if volatility ticks up between now and next Monday, which I suspect it might, it actually makes more of a buffer. This fund, it has a positive relationship to volatility, which is really cool. So, and what you're really hoping for is that, what I think is that you're hoping maybe for a 10% up move in Tesla, into earnings, which is very reasonable. And if you did that, would be about max profit for this trade. It'd be about an $800 profit. You're hoping for that at the same time as a pop in volatility. If you guys, it's too late to put this trade on. If you guys like this kind of content, I can find one for the next week. In any event, we'll just keep following this. Now, there was also a trade for smaller accounts. It's a GME trade. They're saying GME's in play again. I guess Roaring Kitty has options. He may be out by now, but they were saying that last week. So The same day I made the Tesla video, I made a real quick trade. And this is the same. The profit and loss graph basically looks the same. And instead of having two little mountains, whatever, it has one little peak right there, because this one, you're just selling a call you're selling a call that expires this Friday, and you're buying a call that expires next Friday. No unlimited loss. Your loss is limited to $62 on this. So you probably want to do this 5 or 10 times if you're trying to do it for some real money. But what you're hoping for, same type thing. You're hoping that time passes. And this one isn't an earnings play. You're just hoping the time passes and maybe Roaring Kitty tweets again about it. And it boosts the volatility. And then at the same time, if it does that, all you're hoping for is for the stock, GME, not to drop below $20 if volatility gets pumped. If volatility stays the same, you still have an 11% buffer. So if you can just go into next week and the stock can stay the same or go up, you can easily double your money, and do that with a pretty easy, pretty huge advantage in your favor. And the reason you can do that is because this call was ridiculously overpriced. You bought this call, this 28 call that expires 2 weeks from now, just to hedge this 30 call, just to be able to sell it. All right. So anyway, that's a slick little trade too. Too late to do this trade if you like more trades like that. Now, last week we also talked about a guy that was trying to hedge $1 million portfolio. Let's see which one this was. It was going to make it where he essentially had a get out of jail free card between now and New Year's Eve. So if the market, any amount the market went down, he was covered for. This is the same thing. There's funds out there that do this, but I was just showing how a person could do this if maybe they realized that, man, the market's been up like 30% the past year and a half, and my 401k jumped from 800,000 to 1.1 million, and because I'm all in growth, and what do I do now? I think the market may go down. That's the hypothetical scenario. Well, in any event, we can just see where this is kind of every day, but right now it's just kind of bleeding. Unless the market, the bottom line on this is, unless the market by New Year's Eve moves down more than 6.7%, this trade's going to bleed to death. It's going to cost you $34,000. It's just going to do it one day at a time. You're going to see it come out of the account if you did something like this. The thing you're trading it for is peace of mind. Let's go around to mid-October. Something crazy happens in the election or something. Boom, the market drops 20%. You have $1 million portfolio. So your $1 million portfolio is going to only be an 800,000. Well, if you have this option position on, that it'll be a positive 257. So it'll offset, even when you don't even have to sell this option, you can just keep this position on till New Year's. But then to New Year's, you have to take wherever it's at. If by New Year's Eve it's down 30%, then good news, you get 336,000. Bad news, you got to pay taxes on it. But by New Year's Eve, it's rallied back to even or something, you'll lose 34,000. It's just a $34,000 hedge. It's a very simple trade. Anyway, too late to do this one. If you guys like more content like this, I'll probably make one for a guy that he's trying to hedge like $100,000 portfolio instead of $1 million portfolio. So that'll probably be later. So be looking for that. Anyway, I hope you guys like that kind of content. So I got a comment yesterday. Wanted to speak about my new niche. So let's see. I got a comment yesterday that said, and it was about on the how to hedge the $1 million video, and I made up a crazy scenario. And anyway, the guy said, "What does this have to do with dividends?" And it's a great point. It really didn't have much to do with dividends. And that's because what I do on the station is I talk about option strategy ETFs. Lots of times those are ones that pay dividends, like Defiance, Yield Max, but sometimes they aren't. I talk about buffer funds and mainly buffer funds. So here's the other thing. I'm also going to make a video that follows up on this video. The real truth of this is if the hero of the story the guy that had 800,000 last year and has 1.1 million this year and is worried about hedging. If he had had a properly diversified portfolio where he was using retirement buckets or 60-40 or 6 months of cash and then maybe 70-30 plus, I mean, something that, most reasonable people recommend. And then if he had like 40% or 30%, something like that in fixed income, maybe some of that even in covered call funds, but also just bonds and senior loan stuff, he would have been fine. He wouldn't have needed a hedge, or maybe not to the extent. And I'm going to show how that works also. So yes, the solution is a properly hedged portfolio, but I thought it would be interesting to show kind of an accidental millionaire and somebody that, is like, I'm up a lot of money and the world's going to hell in a handbasket. That's what you think if you watch the news. I mean, that's what would appear. So anyway, this is just like a peace of mind trade, but it's kind of a departure from my usual, because I usually do talk about option strategy funds that sell options like Defiance and Yield Max, and those are the income funds. This is not an income strategy. This strategy I stole from buffer funds. There's buffer funds that do this same strategy or similar strategy, where they make it where they put a floor on what you can lose. You can't, even if the market goes down 20%, you're only down 10%. And then there's different types too. There's all different types. But anyway, I cover those as well, and those use options for strategies, but they don't necessarily pay a dividend. So that's kind of what what my niche is, or what I'm trying to develop it to be. In any event, I appreciate you guys being here.